everybody. Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. It is the aftermath, and it's the aftermath of a 32-13 win. Interestingly, at the conclusion of that, maybe you might have heard Mark Schlereth doing the color for Fox say, you know, Cleveland played pretty well at the beginning here. They had some opportunities, but New England flexes its muscles. When was the last time you heard something like that at the end of a game? The Patriots muscle flexing on somebody. But this is the kind of treatment that a good team gives to a team that's just kind of being a nuisance. And you could tell the Cleveland really felt it was overmatched. It's fun in Foxborough again. Here's Drake Maye.
Drake, after your long run, the crowd started chanting MVP, MVP. Next play, you throw the 39-yard touchdown pass to Kayshawn. More of the same. Did you hear it? What's your reaction to it?
No, I didn't hear it. The guys were making fun of me about my slide back in the huddle on the long run. So I didn't hear it, but the fans have been awesome all season. It's been really cool to really see the difference from last year to this year. Man, it's been a journey, and they've been through it, and they've been the fans have been through it the last couple of years. So it's just credit to them, and we did the intros today for the first time, so we didn't know how that would go. That was pretty cool. But no, the fans have been awesome. Like I said, I think the best fans in the league, and they continue to show out every week.
Showing up and showing out. Here's some of the numbers. Maye, 18 for 24 for 282. 3 touchdowns, including another one to Kayshawn Boutte. 7 carries for 50 yards for Maye. Harried and harassed by Myles Garrett to the tune of 6 sacks. Didn't bug him. Henderson, 10 for 75. Ramondre Stevenson had 34. The team ran for 177, and they had another day defensively where they held a lead back to worth a whole lot of nothing. Clean-shot Jerkins. 9 carries, 19 yards. Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel, the babyface wonder, 21 for 35 for 156 and 2 picks. Mac Hollins leads the way, 7 catches, 89. Boutte, 3 for 75. As a team, they averaged 15.7 per reception. Bobby Spillane, 14 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, pass defense and a pick. Gonzalez shoring up in the tackling department at the cornerback position. And Josh McDaniels with a quirky kind of fun game, pulling all kinds of levers. And when his lever pulling didn't work, Drake Maye would bail him out. All right, you've been waiting for him. Here he comes. It's the Senator Phil Perry. It's the straw that stirs this particular drink on the Patriots Talk podcast. Phil, a lot to like. Your ball.
Yeah, lots to like. And I'm going to start with the quarterback because it just is habit now to start with him. Another game where he goes over 200 yards passing. He's got a quarterback rating over 100 again. It's 7 straight games of that right now. He joins Aaron Rodgers, who did it twice, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning as one of 5 quarterbacks in the history of the league to ever have those numbers. It's pretty ridiculous company. And the reason why I think this stat line is as impressive as any that he's had this year is not just because the Browns were one of the best defenses in football coming in, which they were. They were number 1 in the league in terms of total yards allowed. They were, depending on which EPA you use, and yeah, there are multiple EPAs out there. The calculations are a little bit different depending on where you look. But Next Gen Stats had them as 3rd in EPA. DVOA, they were 5th, which takes into account
best measure.
Yeah, it takes maybe the best measure and takes into account the competition they'd face. However you slice it, elite defense. So that's number 1. Great stat line, great performance from Drake Maye. But I think the ability to bounce back in basically all of their wins, Tom, to this point, he had played almost flawlessly. I don't believe he had a turnover in any of their wins before today.
No, he did not.
So he throws an early pick, and it's an ugly pick. The feet are all messed up. He doesn't see a spy. It looks like he's about to throw to double coverage anyway. Sort of a weird decision. But he just comes right back, and he continues to throw the ball down the field. He continues to take hits. But he continues to be incredibly efficient, or at least he was in the second half. So that's why I start with him, and I thought he was a star again today.
Phil, I'm going to be honest with you. You and I were in the studio here today, but down in Foxborough, they asked Drake Maye about exactly the topic you're speaking of. Drake Maye on bounce back.
Yeah, just bouncing back. Through early interception, and we talked about it all week. Kind of this what they strived on, their defense, their offense, and good positions. And was looking downfield and forgot the guy in front of me could jump. So he picked it. But nice play by him. But just battling back from adversity. This is that league. One of the best players on the edge, and maybe the best player in the league on the edge. So just battling back and continue to run it and play action and boot and just trying to keep the defense offense. Trying to be unpredictable on offense, and I think Coach called a great game and good to handle adversity and come out at halftime and score 3 touchdowns in the third quarter was big.
What does a win like this do to kind of establish something that I've mentioned a number of times already? Is they've gone from separating themselves from the dregs of the league to sniffing around the hindquarters of mediocrity to joining the best teams in the league to now the top 10 teams in the league, or at least being in that conversation. To now, it's 8 games in. They're one of the best teams in the league. We could call it a down year. I don't care. They're one of the best teams in the league.
They are, and to me, it's because the margin by which they're beating these bad teams is pretty impressive because it's become consistent now. Tennessee's a bad team. Cleveland's a bad team. Got it. Good teams beat those bad teams no matter how they're playing. The Patriots, I think, both weeks really haven't played their best game necessarily, and they're still scoring 30 points, and they're still holding the opponent in the teens, and they're still winning by 2 touchdowns. I mean, these types of scores would be the expectation for great Patriots teams. Just the teams that I covered, for instance, the 2011 Patriots or the 2014 Patriots or the 2016 Patriots, you would expect them to play one of the worst teams in football and win 30-something to something in the teens. And that would be the expectation. And that's what this team has done the last couple of weeks. So, to me, it is impressive because I do still feel like, Tom, there's room for them to improve. They can be better than this.
I mean, they've, in this stretch, since they lost to Pittsburgh, in a game that they should have friggin' won for the 19th time and should have won by 14, they've won by 29 points against Carolina. That should have been 36. They edged Buffalo. That to me, that game stands out as, so what are you? What do you do against a good team? This wasn't a one-off performance against the Bills, and I absolutely figured it might be because it was so surprising. And I said going into the game, I do think they have the Bills' attention. But still after the game, you're still reticent to say, okay, well, they're 3-2 at that point after beating the Bills. And you're like, they got them, but Alan, they're not the Bills the way they're going to be. But to see them win 25-19 in New Orleans, and now by 18-19 again, they've got a 29-point win and an 18-point win and a 19-point win. So your point's well taken. Doesn't do you any good at all to be one of the best teams in football in Week 8, except to build your own confidence and to set the stage for expectations. And maybe, we'll get into this too, to kind of lead to planning as they approach the trade deadline. What are they going to turn into? What do you do with being this team, I guess? What's the next mountain you try to plant your flag on?
Well, I think now one of the conversations we had before the game began, you, me, Michael Hawley, was should the Patriots win the division? And I know, big picture, Mike Vrabel has had that win the division, quote unquote, as one of his team goals, and that's what they want to do every year. Even before this game today, I said, should, that's a strong word. The Bills still exist, and the Bills won again today. And so I'm still not sure I would say they should win the division, but that to me has become a truly realistic goal of theirs, not just mathematically, but because the way in which they're playing. They can compete and beat. We've seen it already, but over the breadth of the season, they can be better than a team that a lot of us thought might go to the Super Bowl at the end of the year. And so that to me is what you focus on next, right? Is just being so consistent that winning the division isn't just a pie in the sky goal to shoot for. It's something realistic that you really feel as though you should be able to accomplish.
All right, we have plenty of rubble to kick through as well from this game. But before we do, I want to take a quick look forward because here's the Patriots over the next several games. November 2nd, they host the Falcons at the Bucks. They host the Jets. They're at the Bengals. They host the Giants. They have a bye week, and they host the Bills. So that's a stretch of 6 games. They're already 6-2. They're going to be favored at home against Atlanta. They're going to be favored at home against the Jets. They're going to be favored at home against the Giants. That's 9 wins.
Sure is.
Falcons, yeah. So you're at 9. You could be at 9 before you get to the friggin' Bills game. You're going to be home with the Bills on the 14th. You've already shown you can beat them. That's going to be a coin flip game. Believe it or not, that might be a game in which I would say Bills, if I had to do it right now, I'd say Bills -1. Patriots are still a home dog to the Bills. Bills are -1. But I think the hard part of their schedule, while this is coming, I think this past portion might have been a little harder because you were on the road and on the road and on the road.
Those teams are so bad, though, that
I know.
I just look
But
at the Bills.
I guess what I'm saying
I look
now,
at the Ravens with Lamar, which comes after that Bills game. The end of the season stretch to
Yeah,
me is a little bit tougher. And I thought Vrabel actually, I don't know if he hinted at that specifically, but he did say something in his post-game press conference today about how they're going to need to kind of manage their older guys. And he mentioned Diggs and Morgan Moses and Hunter Henry because they're going to be playing meaningful games at the end of the year here.
Great point. It's been a while since there was extra football. Have the Patriots gone to the playoffs in a 17-game season? Yeah, they were 10-7 in 2021. It's the only time they've played.
Was that the first 17-game season?
It's the first time they went to the playoffs in one. Be that as it may, we'll look at that for a while. But what's not to like about this Patriots win? 5 sacks for Myles Garrett. For those of you who used to watch Deadwood, I hope it's all of you. 5 sacks for Myles Garrett. First drive blues. Again, a team marches down the field and scores. Not that great on third down. 3 for 11 in the red zone. 3 for 11 on third down, 2 for 6 in the red zone. Trayvion's fumble, and that Drake Maye pick. Meanwhile, also, Christian Barmore benched. Here's Mike Vrabel on the benching of defensive line cornerstone Christian Barmore.
Just curious, Christian Barmore, we didn't really see him in the first quarter. Was there anything that led to him being sidelined and then to see him come back in the game after?
Yeah, I had to make a decision. You know, my job is to protect the team. So when there's actions that I don't feel like are commensurate with what we want to do here, I got to make a decision and we move on.
All right, we'll try and do some more digging to find out what exactly Christian Barmore did. But let's get back to Maye and Will Campbell and Myles Garrett. Schwartzy didn't crack the code defensively, Phil, but Garrett was a real issue. Outlier? I kind of think it was. But outlier type of performance by a guy, or did he expose an Achilles heel?
No, I think that's an outlier. I think it would be hard for me to say that the way Will Campbell's played at left tackle looks like it could be an Achilles heel when they survived 7 games with him there and saw some good rushers. Primarily, actually, I thought Joey Bosa is probably the best left side of the line rusher they've seen this year. Max Crosby, TJ Watt, those guys are right side of the line guys. Nick Herbig was another, Tom, in that Steelers game who gave Campbell a lot of trouble and is a good player. And so I guess, you could look at Herbig, you could look at Garrett and say, ooh, all right. Well, these guys are showing the rookie that this is a little different game in the National Football League. But to me, Myles Garrett is just such a freak. I don't look at this and say, you got to get this guy out of that position, especially because a lot of his sacks were like through double teams.
Yes. And the first sack was interesting. They chipped with Hunter Henry, and, yep, Will Campbell let it up. But it put him in a position where, because of the chip and because Campbell was still dropping, there was way more space for Garrett between himself and Campbell. So it was like, did you see Xavier Tillman trying to cover somebody in the first game? I don't know, somebody was Tyrese Maxey, I think. And it's just like, okay, you're cooked. And it was kind of, Garrett just went around him and there was no answer. It was almost as if it's not an arm length thing. He doesn't need another quarter inch in his arm. It's just, okay, you're going up against somebody who's 6'5", 280, who moves like the wind.
That's how I see it. You know,
he
I'm
was
sure
cooked. Like, do you like that theory of
yeah.
what I thought happened there?
I mean, he
had too much space.
He closes space really quickly, and you could say, hey, if Campbell had longer arms, he'd be able to maybe initiate contact a little bit earlier, and maybe that's true. I just, you look at how he moves. He's so powerful, and he's so fast. And they were saying it on the broadcast. Mark Schlereth kept calling it a Euro step kind of move. And I've seen other people. It's Teron Armstead, who has recently retired, but was a great left tackle for the Dolphins and the Saints. And he did some work for Pro Football Focus now and just specifically watches offensive line and defensive line play. And he said Myles Garrett is undefeated. He has an inside move, and it's like a bounding inside move. It's this Euro step move that I think Schlereth was referring to. And he's undefeated on that move, Armstead said. He said, I've watched him all year. I've never seen him lose when he decides to use that move. And it felt like that was the case again today. And it doesn't matter. Like, it could be Campbell getting his hands on him. He would fight through Jared Wilson. He got chips from running backs. He got chips from tight ends. Some guys,
He's like a defensive tackle and a running back in one.
He kind of is. That's a great. He's got that sort of athleticism and that sort of size. And I just wonder. I thought it was for the most part a good game by Josh McDaniels. I wonder if they will ever rethink some of the ways in which they chip guys, because it does seem like sometimes it makes it harder on a tackle.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they would just say, I know we got to put a presence here somehow, but maybe we just figure something else out to try to help the tackle, because sometimes it changes the angles and it seems to make it more complicated.
Yeah, there was another chip on Myles Garrett that ended up resulting in a sack. It might have been the strip sack. I don't think so, though. Good, that's helpful, Tom. But
I mean, no way around it. It's not a great game for the rookie.
Someone chipped, and he hit Garrett, and then I think that he said, well, I'm going to double here with Jared Wilson and move off him. And the guy just overwhelmed, I think, Hunter Henry. It's like they had him, and then he said, well, this is closer to my quarterback. So he almost throws the rules out the window. I said before the game this would be a case where teams would up the heat on Drake Maye. I think they did. I think they might have blitzed. We'll see the blitz numbers later in the week. I think they tried to do that, but as a result, we thought that Drake Maye might turn into check down Charlie. Didn't necessarily happen, although I think he was trying. I think the Diggs throw that turned into a pick was check downy. He's like, I'm finding my short guy here. And somebody was running deep downfield in the all-22 was behind the defense. But after that, he said, I'm throwing downfield, or I'm taking my chances. Not like stubbornly saying, okay, I'm not going to listen to him. I'm going to throw downfield. He just said, I'm going to do my thing.
He did do his thing. He threw, on average, 11.9 yards down the field. And going into the late games on Sunday, as we're sitting here now, those are playing out. Nobody had an average depth of target that was longer than Drake Maye's. So before the game, I'm saying he's got to get the ball out quickly. The Browns, they pressure so quickly. You've got to check it down. You've got to be okay with that. McDaniels talked about it during the week when I asked him about that. And to your point, he may have tried, Tom, but he didn't lose his down-the-field aggressiveness, which I think helps them win this game. If he's just thinking about getting it to his backs and his tight ends in the flat, does he hit Kayshon Boutte deep down the field for a 39-yard touchdown? I don't know if he does. Does he hit Mac Hollins on some of those deeper patterns along the sideline that helped them move the football as much as they did? I mean, he was, again, launching it down the field and, again, incredibly accurate. Again, going into the Sunday late games, nobody had a better completion percentage over expected than Drake Maye. It was 15.5. Again, that's an accuracy stat, and they track that based on all the GPS locations. Again.
Last week was 24.
He's at the top of the league again in that category.
It's weird now when he throws it incomplete, like the over-the-shoulder throw to Boutte on the left side that was impossible to catch. And I saw somebody on Twitter said something about Boutte not being able to hook up. I'm like, what is he? He's supposed to be a scorpion, just totally turn his body backwards, and it was an impossible catch. But you are a little dumbstruck. I saw the first throw to Diggs. The first throw of the game to Diggs, because I'm sitting here still expecting that he might come back to earth a little bit. I'm like, man, I'm making a shitty throw right there. No, hit him in the hands.
Right off the hands.
Absolute friggin' strike. I'm like, where did the guy go? What deal with the devil? What Faustian pact has he made? That's Dr. Faust or Faustus. I don't know. I had to read it. English major. Meanwhile, if those of you who are, as we tape this, in front of your television watching these late games, they blow, huh? 24-7 Colts in the third. 27-10 Broncos over the Cowpokes. 17-3 Buccaneers over Saints. A lot of horses running wild out there. 2 horses and a pirate having their way.
What'd you think of McDaniels' day today?
That's great. Thank you for asking. I thought it was interesting because early on he does try to feature and find ways to, and I don't think it's reactionary. I think they look at the same things we do and understand that those are issues. We're not that stupid. You as fans, we as media, we see things that they see, and they see things that we see, and they agree with us more often than not. They're like, we got to get Travion Henderson going, and bam, they do. So I like that. I like the seam throw to Austin Hooper that was soon after another play that hadn't gone well. Can't remember. Might have been right after the pick. Actually, it was right after the pick. So that was a good call for a nice, easy throw. Honey hole shot out to Hollins again. I didn't love the trap down inside the red zone where they were asking Morgan Moses to come all the way down the line of scrimmage on a first down play and executed block, which got the Patriots behind the sticks. But I thought it was a really good, and I'm just talking first half right now. Second half is a whole different animal. But the first half of Josh McDaniels is interesting because he does things that help to highlight the best of Drake Maye. And when he has a play call that puts Drake Maye in a position that maybe you could say, might have been a risky play call there. It didn't work out. Maye is so friggin' good running with the ball that he has a tendency to bail him out. I'm thinking of a 16-yard scramble by Maye to bail out a drive when I think it was 2nd and 10. Phil, what did you think? Second half, if you want to highlight that.
I thought the first drive of the second half kind of changed the game, and I thought it was one of the best drives we've seen orchestrated by Josh McDaniels, because it had been, as Vrabel put it after the game, tough sledding. The run game had been effective at times. I think they were about 4.5 yards per carry in the first half, so not bad. But they got Henderson going with those outside runs, and they started that drive, that first drive of the third quarter, with a scramble up the gut, 5 or 6 yards. Then they had that fake pitch, that reverse pivot pitch to the side to Henderson for a first down. Another pitch to Henderson for a first down on the very next play. Then they had the double pass the
double
pass back to the quarterback. It was Stevenson to Maye, down the field to Hollins. I thought that was a sneaky, great throw by Drake Maye because there was somebody right on top of him, and if you watch it, he's letting it go and turning to protect himself as soon as he lets it go, and it's right on the money to Hollins. Then there's an option. There's a quarterback run game option pitch that picked up a good chunk, an end around to Douglas for a first down, and then the rollout play action pass to Henry for the touchdown. That was like almost every single play of that drive felt like it had Josh McDaniels' stamp on it. That felt like a schemed up drive. There was not much like downhill, straight ahead, we're coming right at you, this is our basic stuff. But it really got them going in a game that looked like it might be different. They had 9 points to that point through 30 minutes of football. So I thought that was a fantastic drive by McDaniel specifically, and we can talk about
so does Drake Maye.
The first half stuff, but I thought that was great.
So does Drake Maye. Here's his commentary on, excuse me about that, Phil, on Josh McDaniels and this play calling early in the second half.
His demeanor in halftime was, he could tell that, he was calming us down and knew that we were good. And, just classic, Coach McDaniels drive. I mean, he's just, dialing it up and, multiple times and getting guys open and really making it easy for me. So, he's done his whole life, and, I feel like he's, put on the surface to be an offensive coordinator. So it's fun to, be in the headset with him.
Look, it's the nature of the position that, because we all love football and we all watch a lot of football, that when a play blows up, you're going to look at the offensive coordinator and say, WTF are you thinking about, you boob? But I just think that Josh McDaniels had such an immense impact on Drake Maye. If there's an assistant coach of the year, and we do have that vote, or there is an AP award for that, and I've actually divested myself of my vote. I don't know enough about the whole league anymore.
That's okay. I like that honesty by you.
Yeah.
I like that humility by you.
I give it a Hibbert. So, where would you rank Josh McDaniels in Assistant Coach of the Year conversations?
Boy.
Could the Patriots sweep everything? MVP, Coach of the Year, Assistant Coach of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Bobby Spillane with his 14 tackles.
Bobby Spillane, one of the players of the game for the Patriots. It's a damn shame we haven't mentioned him. To
I
this
thought
point.
I mentioned him. I had
you
him.
might have. You might have.
No, maybe I didn't. I had him in my plan.
I probably wasn't listening. Sorry about that. You know why
14 tackles, 2 TFL, PD, and a pick. Yeah, I mentioned him.
You know why I don't rule it out? McDaniels for Assistant of the Year? Because it's a young quarterback who's seen himself make a massive leap. He's in the MVP conversation solidly. And he's not the head coach. So, like, you could say Shane Steichen's been the best offensive coach in football this year, but he ain't up for Assistant of the Year. He's the head man. So he might get head coach of the year if the Colts can keep this up. And I just am watching on my computer screen right now, Jonathan Taylor run for an 80-yard touchdown. Good job by him.
You know what? That's what I have to deal with, folks. I get 60% of Phil in these pods. He's doing something entirely different and entirely off.
You just gave us live score updates. This podcast is going to be out 2 hours after all those games are over. You just gave us in-game score updates on a podcast.
He's the king of rebuttal.
What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Anyway, I don't hate it. I'm not gonna. I don't. Who else is up for that?
Oh, so now you're going to be the guy who
Who else
doesn't
is
want
up
to
for the
talk
award?
about Assistant Coach of the Year while the season's going on?
I just talked about
All
it.
he ever wants to talk about is who's the MVP, who the best team in football is, all this stuff.
I just talked
I
about
ask
it.
about Josh McDaniels, and he's like, oh, it's too early yet. Oh,
I
it's
just
too
said
early
he's got
now."
a shot at it. That was way more than you gave us last week on who's the second best team in the AFC.
No one cares.
Just a cowardly performance by you. Cowardly.
How the Raiders do. All right.
Oh, we're done. Great year though. Kids played great.
Flag
Kids played
football.
hard.
Flag football team, not
Big
Tom
time
Brady's
effort.
Raiders.
Yep. 3rd and 4th grade Raiders. Love that. Love those guys. I'd die for those guys.
Of course you. Okay.
Die for them. Take a bullet for each and every one of them.
Give up one of your kids for him for a win.
No, I wouldn't do
There
that.
was a guy who said that last week. It was a hockey coach to
He say
San
that?
Jose Sharks. Give up one of my kids for a win. Jesus Christ.
Nobody asked.
And as he said it, you could see, right before he said it, you could see he was doing the math. Yeah, maybe I'll get a giggle here. And he says it, and then there's no noise, and he goes, so
Great year. Great year. We're
nothing
on to
better-
basketball.
Nothing better than
We're on to
coaching.
basketball.
Nothing more fun than coaching kids. It's a blast.
A
Absolute blast. You know what my favorite thing about coaching kids is?
What?
Oh, good. Tom, make it about you. You
Yeah.
never do
No,
that.
No, please.
Um,
You have to sit here and listen to every Raiders update every single week, although that's
I
over
want
now.
to get them.
Okay. I
Imagine
appreciate
the
you
amount
saying
of
that.
golf updates you have to get.
That is true.
I went
get a lot
golf.
of-
I had Trenny come down to play golf. over the
I
weekend.
heard. I
Yep.
heard it went great.
First time on a big course. First
Heard-
time on a course. She's only been in a simulator before.
Heard it went pretty well.
She, I gave her some Manolo advice. You guys who are golf fans, you know Manolo.
I love Manolo.
Okay, animals, don't be nasty. But Manolo, honestly, the best tip that I gave Trenny was the Manolo advice, which is pee-pee to pin, pee-pee to the pin, pee-pee to the pin. She just wasn't turning her hips. And when she did, bam! Hybrids launched into the afternoon sky down
Love
at
that.
LeBaron Hills Country Club in
Love
Lakeville.
that. Great job by her.
All right.
That's maybe the most success any of your students in that game of golf has ever had.
That's absolute horseshit. I've never helped you.
I was a pretty good player, and then I started playing with you, and I've since quit. So you do the math out there, folks.
Phil, you should try and stand up on your downswing. Works for me. That's not true.
You need to just fire that cheek, your swing.
It's the same
Don't
thing
sway,
Manolo's telling
just
you.
fire.
Yeah, left cheek back, left cheek directly back. Doesn't slide. Everyone's like, oh, you slide to it. No, you don't. You bam. I hope everybody is already checked out of this thing before we talk to Raiders. Love you.
No,
Tuesday.
people love this stuff.
We're gonna have some mid-season superlatives and/or awards coming up because we're 8 weeks in. It's a 17-game season, as you know. Or maybe we could do it at halftime of the next game, but we're not gonna because that would be the real midpoint.
Oh, that would be fun.
Instead, we're gonna do it Tuesday. Tuesday. See you then.